Over the course of this channel, I've been hammering home the same point. 0 to 1 float cap guns are the best, right? Trade up fillers, you buy any factory new one, it's good to go, ready to be used in a trade up. It is a piece, but it is not the full entire story of why the 0 to 1 float cap guns in CS2 are the most valuable and will continue to be the most valuable. It's not just about trading up with them, it's about trading up to them, unboxing them, redeeming them. And it's why they're the most valuable gun in the game, and it's why they are commonly the biggest targets of manipulation. Allow me to explain. Welcome back to another episode of Debate. I'm your host, Mike Water9. This is where we look at the market and discuss the market as a whole, as a broad concept, rather than the specifics of it. This is one of mine. However, next time I will take a community suggestion. I have a Google Forms QR code right here. You could scan it or screenshot it and then leave your own ideas in there. However, it will have to be pretty fleshed out if you want me to use it in the video. Now, let's take a look at two coverts from the Armory right now in the Train 2025 and Sport and Field collection. Now, controlling for the redemptions that have happened in it, we can't look at the supplies because the redemptions of each respective collection are different. However, if we control for that, the AWP Longdog is going to be 32 times more rare in factory new and thus more expensive. And by the end of the video, you'll be able to understand why. As I'm sure you know, but if you don't, the float cap is the range of all possible floats your specific skin is allowed to fall under. 0 to 1 is the maximum. But it doesn't just determine where the float lands, it also determines your probability of getting each wear. It changes with every single float cap because of how Valve calculates it. And this applies to every method of obtaining it, trading up, armory, case, whatever it may be. And for 0 to 1 float cap guns, that probability is the lowest and the most brutal. Now, we've covered this before in my equation video a few weeks ago, but when you open up a case or redeem something from the armory, the float value in which your gun is assigned is not distributed evenly. It first chooses a range, and then it distributes evenly. On a 0 to 1 float cap skin, your odds of getting factory new are 3%. That 3% still exists on every single gun, and it determines the odds of whether it can trade up to a factory new skin. However, the odds of getting factory new can be much higher. Take the M4 Fade, for example. If you could trade it up, theoretically, 3% of those values within factory new would be able to be traded up to a factory new skin, but 97% of all M4 Fades are factory new. So 97% of them have the label of factory new, but only 3% are eligible to be traded up to another factory new skin. That 3% is what I call the true factory new range. On a 0 to 1 float cap skin, the true factory new range is 0 to 0.07 factory new, because we don't have to change it. So again, we go to the AWP Longdog, which is a 0 to 1 float cap skin. It has a 1 in 750 chance of getting redeemed from the armory, and then you have a 3% chance of getting a factory new after getting the red, which makes it around a 1 in 25,000 chance of getting a factory new AWP Longdog. The chance of getting a factory new M4 Fade, well, it's only around 1 in 800, because it's a 97% chance of factory new, and then a 1 in 750 chance of getting the M4 Fade in general. There's an order of magnitude difference between the amount of supply coming in of factory new Fades and factory new Longdogs. This should elucidate the point even better because we can't use these as trade-up fillers, so it doesn't matter. One is just going to be more scarce. Now, let's talk trade-ups. I always hammer on the point that 0 to 1s are good to trade up with because you could just place a buy order on a 0 to 1 skin in factory new. Once you got it, you knew for a fact that it would trade up to another factory new skin, because factory new is true factory new on 0 to 1. And that still is true. Buy orders are a huge deal when it comes to doing trade-ups because you want the cheapest inputs possible to maximize your expected value once you actually do the trade-up. That's completely true. I learned that you could place buy orders on float for specific float ranges, but if you were just buying on Steam, for example, you wouldn't be able to do that. And there's math involved, and a lot of people don't know about it. So those 0 to 1 float cap guns are going to be the most expensive when it comes to buy orders and just listings on the market in general. But now also flip it. What if the 0 to 1 skin is the output in which you're trying to create? Okay, so you have the M4 Fade, 0 to 0.08. With the new trade-up system, you can use battle-scarred Glock Axias or battle-scarred Galil Rainbow Spoons because once it normalizes, it still fits on that M4 Fade range, which would equal factory new. But if the M4 Fade was 0 to 1 instead, you would need factory new inputs. Not only that, because the Glock Axia and the Rainbow Spoon are not 0 to 1, you would need lower than 0.07. You would need to do some math to figure out where it would need to be. The Galil would need to be around 0.03. The Glock around 0.04. Both of those have a 3% chance of dropping. Now, trading up to the M4 Fade would be much, much harder. Now, wouldn't it? Well, that's what's going on with the AWP Longdog. 0 to 1 skin, which means you need true factory new fillers to get there. After the trade-up update, that's only 3% of skins that are incoming. So it also depends on your output. To get a 0 to 1 gun factory new, you need true factory new inputs, in which the 0 to 1 would benefit the most. With the new trade up update, it's only 3% of each gun, which is a true factory new input. So now you're sourcing from a tiny pool trying to hit a tiny target. So not only are 0 to 1s good fillers, they're also the hardest to receive from a trade up. There's not going to be any accidental factory new trade ups anymore. It won't happen. Today's video has been sponsored by the lovely ladies and gentlemen over at skinsmonkey.com. Skinsmonkey is the industry standard trading forum and marketplace for anything and all things Counter-Strike. 24/7 support and an instant trading system so fast, those Bulgarian overpay goblins are sure to go out of business. Now, if that's not enough incentive, throw my code Mike in on the website for $5 off on your first trade. But if you trade up to $100 on the website, they'll double your bonus from 5 to 10. Now, if you don't have any skins and I just gave you some free game on investment advice, you could deposit money and use the website as a marketplace as well. In that case, my code Mike will net you a 5% deposit bonus, bringing it from 30 to 35%. So go get swagged out, courtesy of skinsmonkey.com. So using them as a filler is a 3% chance of having one. Unboxing one, 3% chance times the probability of actually getting it. Armory redemptions, same thing. 3% chance of getting it factory new on top of the odds of actually receiving it from the armory. And to actually get one from a trade up, well, you need 10 inputs now that all fall into that 3% chance of getting it, which makes it extremely hard to trade up to. So they're good fillers and hard to get out of trade ups. But if they're good fillers, you have to use 10 at a time. And to get one as an output, you only get one. So you can see how the factory new supply is slowly but surely starting to be phased out. And it's going to reach that 3% mark sooner rather than later. And now compare that with something like the M4 Fade. Unbox it, well, there's a 97% chance it's factory new. Trade up to it, pretty much fucking impossible to get it minimal wear. So that factory new supply just flows in effortlessly. Yes, it's not a good trade up filler because it's not true factory new, but we're not looking for fillers with the M4 Fade. We're just talking about general supply in factory new. So while there are 0 to 0.3 fillers that are just as good as 0 to 1 fillers, the incoming supplies are still different. And people who are not using it to trade up, they just want it as a play skin or something, they don't care. It's going to be cheaper in factory new because there's just more with that factory new label. It's rather the convenience premium that 0 to 1s offer by way of being able to place buy orders and being able to go away from your computer and just have them come into your inventory that amplifies the price of them already on top of the rarity. So you have high demand there. They're becoming more scarce because they're leaving the market faster than they're coming in because of trade-ups. And the supply with the newest update has been choked and it will not get any bigger than what it is right now. Now these are also why 0 to 1s are the most targeted by China and market manipulators. Because I always thought too much about the trade-up filler fact, but the fact that there's just less in factory new overall changes it drastically. Right? If they wanted to pump the M4 Fade, they don't give a shit how easy it is to trade up with it. What they do care about is how much supply there is and how much incoming supply there's going to be. Right? 1 in 800 is not a great chance, but it's a lot fucking easier than 1 in 25,000 chance. And you also don't have to worry about trade-ups because trade-ups with the Glock Axia are super fucking easy. You don't need any specific wear. You could use Battle Scarred and get a factory new Fade. The AWP Longdog, on the other hand, super hard to trade up to. The M4 Hellish, the MP9 Latte Rush, both 0 to 1, both 3% chances of getting those to even be eligible to trade up to the factory new Longdog. Then, to get it from the armory by itself is a 1 in 25,000 chance, not 1 in 800. So there's a less supply of them to start with, and the amount of incoming supply is going to be markedly less, irregardless of redemption numbers. Even if the train collection could be opened 32 times more as the Sport and Field collection, and there would still be an equal amount of M4 Fades and factory new AWP Longdogs. Just to put it in perspective. So with the AWP Longdog, the incoming supply is never going to outpace a coordinated buying attempt. With the M4 Fade though, that's not exactly guaranteed. And this is where you see pumps. Because you have a low supply to begin with, and the prospects of incoming supply are also grim. That's where they focus their money. So that's why they get targeted by pumps disproportionately. Because they have value in trade-ups, but they also are fucking hard to get through trade-ups and through unboxings. So it all culminates into being a super valuable skin and a super high-value target for manipulation. So thus, to put it in perspective, to trade up to the M4 Fade, you can use any pink you want because of that float range. For the AWP Longdog, you need factory new skins, true factory new skins. The Hellish and the Latte Rush, but unfortunately, because they're both 0 to 1, they also have a 3% chance of getting dropped in factory new. And trading up to those, well, you only have the Zeus, because you're not going to use the Tech 9 Whiteout. That's way too fucking expensive. So this reminds me a lot of the Train 2021 collection. This is going to be a super duper pump heavy collection. There's bottlenecks everywhere. The top 3 skins are all 0 to 1. It's super hard to get any of these skins in factory new, trade up to the skins in factory new, or receive them in factory new. The AWP Longdog is going to be super fucking rare. Its value beyond that is going to be based on demand, which I don't think it's super liked and well loved. I don't really like it, but it is going to be fucking rare. You actually have a better percentage chance of unboxing a minimal wear fade than you do a factory new Longdog. 1 in 20,000 for the minimal wear fade, 1 in 25,000 for the AWP Longdog. So it's not that 0 to 1s are good investments in terms of holding them to be used for trade up fillers. They're also structurally harder to get and unbox from every single funnel that you think about from the game. The AWP Longdog, its fillers are both 0 to 1. That's like nested scarcity. It's going to be impossible or extremely expensive to trade up to that AWP Longdog in factory new. And it has great prospects for manipulation itself because the supply is so low and because the ways of getting it are also extremely improbable. Even if the train collection stayed in the armory for the next 6 months, there would not be too many AWP Longdogs coming in because it's not redeemed a lot and it's super fucking rare. And trade ups are going to be too expensive, honestly, to even get them. And that's why 0 to 1 skins are the most valuable skins in the game. It being a good filler is just a convenient footnote. There is so much more to why its value is so much more than any other skin. I harped on the filler part being too much. I harped on the filler part too much as to why these guns commanded such a wild premium. But it goes so much more deeper than that. Because if you take away the trade up filler part and you take away the trade up aspect, it still has low supply and it still has that factory new label that players and casual players still like to think about and still want to purchase. It still has value as being factory new. And even though there's 3% of true factory new M4 phase, 97% are still factory new, and the average player doesn't give a shit. They're gonna buy a .061, they don't care. This is scarcity by design, and it's why Train 2025 will be the most valuable collection in the game. Take a look and see it for yourself. Peace.